We interrupt our program to bring you a special broadcast.
Boom! Headshot!
Hey, it's Clay. How are you guys doing? I got another Battlefield 3 gameplay for you. You know that I am playing some Rush on Aftermath because that is pretty much all that I do on Battlefield 3 because it is so awesome. God, I'm loving Aftermath. Such a good map pack. Love these Rush maps. They are really fun. They play really, really well. Probably the only annoying thing that I've noticed is that people tend to try to, they put down their spawn beacon out in the open and they try to paraglide up onto the, what was that, failed grenade? And they try to paraglide up on top of the buildings. It just gets a little bit obnoxious, I think. But it's not the worst thing in the world. It definitely, like I said, not the worst thing in the world, just a little bit annoying. But what I really, really, really want to talk about is starting to see some discussion pop up about Battlefield 4 and kind of what the game should take place. Because obviously developers are working right now. Actually, it's ironic that I talk about how annoying it is that people do that, and then I do the same thing. So, alright, let's get back on topic. So, Battlefield 4. Obviously, the game is in development right now, and if it's going to release sometime in, what is it? Is it this upcoming Christmas season, I think? So we're maybe, I don't know, 10 months away, something like that? Not really sure, but overall, we know that they're going to be working on the game right now. That's for sure. And so, it's an interesting time to start talking about what Battlefield 3 did right, what were some of its weaknesses, and I wanted to talk about one thing in particular, and that is suppression. I think that this topic has definitely been talked about at length, but I wanted to put my 2 cents in. I was actually having a discussion with someone via some YouTube private messages, and he was purporting suppression as a good thing, and I disagreed, and I wanted to kind of flesh out my opinion and exactly my reasoning behind it, just to kind of further the discussion in a healthy, educated, reasonable way, not like some of the trash YouTube discussions that often occur in the comment sections. But suppression. Overall, I don't like it, and here's why. Gameplay, obviously, suppression is, I think some of its strengths are, number one, it encourages teamwork. It gives the support class specifically a very good and specific niche role that they are capable, their higher magazines have a value that the other classes don't have. When you have 200 rounds in your magazine and every one of those rounds suppresses the opponents, that provides a unique bonus that the other classes just can't match. So that's a good thing. It definitely encourages teamwork in that regard. That's good. Also, it provides an element of immersion is the word I'm going to use. I'm not going to say realism just because I don't think that any video game, I don't think realism is a good thing. I don't think we should want our war games to be realistic because war is not fun and it's not interesting in a video game context. There should be an element of, we should be focusing on making a good gameplay, not necessarily making it real. It's not just a trump card that wins all arguments. But it provides an element of immersion. When you're getting shot at and you actually feel like you're getting shot at, that's cool. I think that's cool. When your screen starts to blur and your guy starts to freak out, I think that's a good thing. It makes it interesting. It makes it, captivating. You feel, like I said, you feel like you're immersed in the battle. That is good. But the number one, reasoning by why I think suppression is bad is because it limits accuracy. And really what that's tied to is skill. It puts a handicap on a person's skill. It lowers the ceiling. It lowers the bar. Think about if you put, on a scale of 1 to 10, if the worst Battlefield player is a 1 and the best Battlefield player is a 10, the distance between those two players is lessened because of suppression. Whereas if you encourage skill-based mechanics, if those always win, then the distance between the 1 and the 10 becomes greater. And I think that is good. That you want to have a high skill ceiling. You want the distance between the worst player and the best player to be great. And I think that suppression makes the game more, it doesn't really incentivize skill. Because if you're a really skillful player, and then you get suppressed, your aim, which is essentially your skill, is totally worthless because it introduces an element of randomness and an element of, where it's meaningless to be skillful because either which way you're going to be suppressed and your bullets aren't going to go where you want. And I think that that's really aggravating, and I think that that's very difficult. You should always be rewarded for good aim. That's just a core of being a skillful first-person shooter player. I mean, yeah, you need to know map knowledge, yeah, you need to know traffic patterns and gameplay, I mean, all that stuff, but more than anything else, you need to be able to aim. I mean, that's a core element of skill. And I just don't like the way that Suppression tinkers with skill. I think that is a bad game mechanic. And I think that, you know, while Suppression has positive elements to it, I think that overall the negatives outweigh the positives. I think that there are the sacrifice in skill is not a worthy enough of an endeavor to you know, to gain the positives that Suppression adds. I just don't think that trade-off is worthwhile. You know, and that's really kind of the core of my argument. That's really what it all boils down to, is that I don't want to sacrifice skill to gain teamwork and immersion. I don't want to make that trade, and I don't think that the developers should make that trade. I think that is something that shouldn't be avoided. Now, I want to talk about other things, because there are ways in which you can accomplish this objective without using Suppression. You can encourage teamwork. You can increase immersion without doing, you know, this type of attack. Think about, you know, what if Suppression only had its visual effects? What if it did not, you know, it mess with aim in any way? What if it was only something that impacted visual effects? So your screen blurred and your vision started to tweak out like it does now. That's fine. I'm okay with that. It does not bother me. But, you know, when we get into this element where there's nothing you can do, it does not matter how accurate you are, you know, that's where I start having problems. So let's talk about team mechanics. What about class balance? There are other ways to incentivize someone to play the support role. You know, if you tweak the guns, like what if they tweak light machine guns in such a way that, you know, I'm not trying to come up with the solution on the spot, but I think that they could do a better job of balancing the classes to make it more of a rock paper scissors mechanic instead of, well, if you want to win this game of Rush, you just make sure that everybody on your team goes assault with an M16, and you know, if there's vehicles, put on your 320. If you need ammo, put on the ammo perk. I mean, basically, you can win with one class. You can win almost every situation with one class. There's almost no situation in the game where an M16 with an underbarrel grenade launcher and the ammo perk is better than any of the other classes. And so why don't they do things to incentivize classes in other ways? But that's a whole nother idea, maybe for a whole nother commentary. But my point is that Suppression has its drawbacks, and I don't think that its drawbacks outweigh its benefits. So I think they should take it out. I don't think that it should be in Battlefield 4. I don't think that it has a place in Battlefield 4 for the reasons that I stated. So I'd really be curious to hear your guys' opinion on Suppression in Battlefield 4, whether or not it should be in the game. You know, I'm really open to hearing your opinions. This is my opinion. I'm not saying that I'm, you know, 100% correct. There may be things that I have not thought about. So let me know down in the comment section below your thoughts on Suppression in Battlefield 4 and kind of my stance on it. So I'll see you guys again soon, and I will talk to you later.